And there's confused.
And you guys should be live on audio too.
All right, Ed, do you know?
Uh-uh.
Should just allow us. So we're live.
Okay, Elsa.
So we're live. We're just doing a little couple things in the background. So if anybody has any questions, as always, just put them in on the bottom. We're watching your questions up there. You can see them over here.
Do what? Search up here.
Exotic blanks. There you go. Go to the left. There you go.
Yeah, just that one probably, huh? Or do we,
Nope.
we want live, right?
Next one, turning to kids. Look at that.
Hey,
I'm
you
looking
pointed
at
at me.
myself.
All right.
Max wants to know if we can rig the drawing so he wins.
Well, we could say that the code word is Max. Hello, Greg.
Hey,
Hello.
Greg.
That's fine. We're fine with what
Yeah, we're
right
good,
there.
right?
Yep.
You're gonna be able to read that?
Now, oh yeah, we got
Yeah,
a chat.
we can see
Right.
it. It's pretty big.
All right.
Okay.
It's bigger than normal.
Okay.
Ed, get on camera.
No, I'll get over
Step
it.
out of here.
I'll go back.
You're
fine.
good.
Okay,
You,
I'm like,
you stay right
Dawn,
there.
come on, get on camera.
no. Thank you.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
We had to put a fence up, and she'd just look over like Wilson.
See, look, what's the bottom comment?
No, John did not get a deer, but I needed a break. So, shotgun season's over, and I'm here. So, I'm too picky. Because I didn't get a deer, I'm able to be here. If I'd have
Look at
gotten a deer,
Everybody's joining in the comedy. Now.
I have
Everybody's
to,
pick on Mark.
well, give
Oh,
it
I
time.
love
Give it
this.
time. Now, had I gotten a deer, I'd be home right now butchering a deer. So it worked out well.
Apparently, John's wife also went out to try to get a deer, and he said if she had gotten one, he'd be out butchering that one too.
Yes.
So he's not selective about whose deer he goes after. He's the guy for the deer.
Yeah. I usually help skin more deer than I get to shoot. So, yeah.
Ed is looking at Don questioningly. Don is looking questioning. I think what the answer to that is no. We don't know. One of the things that's changed thanks to the government used to be that when we wanted something from China, we could order it from China, and a big bird picked it up and brought it to the United States. It went through customs, and it took a day or two, and there were always questions and so forth. But long story short, you could pretty much get something here in about 2 weeks. Now, with the new setup, everything goes by ship. And when it goes by ship, you can count on about 30 days on the water. Now that sounds pretty predictable until you also have to recognize that everybody is trying to get things by ship. And so everything takes 2 weeks to leave China. Then it takes 4 weeks on the water. Then it gets to Los Angeles. And if all goes well, it gets off the ship and gets processed and so forth within about a week. So what used to take 2 weeks is now taking well in excess of 2 months.
So I got a better chance of killing a deer before the end of the season than you do of getting those in.
By a long shot.
Okay.
By a very long shot. You're a much better shot than that anyway.
Well, my
But-
bad.
Bottom line is, we don't know when anything is going to get here anymore. We can speculate, but one of the things that always has irritated me in business, and I've only been in business for a little over 50 years, 1975 I started my own business. One of the things that's always irritated me is people who make promises for things they don't control. And that's the reason that you'll find it very hard to get a promise out of me for anything related to when something's going to get here. Also, you'll have that same problem with when you're going to get it. Because now everything that's going out ground and mail is also last priority. And so when they put these things through the mail system, and many of you have gotten used to us getting it to you in a couple of days, that's getting worse, and it's going to continue to get worse and more expensive. Now the government is talking about, just this last week, that next year they would like to see the ground rate for your postage go up 8%. Now, that's what they'd like to see. We'll see whether they get their approvals or not. But these are the things that are happening these days that really screw up anything that we have been able to tell you in the past and have some degree of confidence that it was correct. Now, we're trying desperately not to say too much definitively
Because we don't know.
because we don't have a clue. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to us too. But understand that for years I've been saying plan ahead. That has become far more important than it ever was in the past. If you don't plan ahead, you are likely to be disappointed. So please, if you have projects, and I have one or a couple this week that people have said, I need this date and this date and this date, we will bend over backwards trying to do it for you. And so far,
I think you actually brought in extra people to do some picking for you, especially on Tuesdays. You
Yeah.
get a couple people to come in and
Yeah, pretty sure.
pick some orders.
I think it since noon.
it's really good to have friends, but nonetheless,
And-
it's still, yes, sir.
There's a question for Reinhard Bushings. Is that the same answer?
Reinhard Bushings Reinhard has not been available for something like 3 years, but I believe Reinhard Bushings are the same as the Baron. And if that is correct, and I'm pretty sure it is, 85% sure it is, I will be getting some of those made in the United States. They will be more expensive. And I will also be getting some of the other ones. We've got Imperial bushings that we're out of and some other ones that we're out of. So there will be a stopgap measure on that, which will bring in some bushings. So if you're looking for those, they should be available within the next couple of weeks. Okay. So, at any rate, that's my speech for the day, because those are the things that have been on the burner today.
But the good news is we've got Thanksgiving coming up this week. It's a light week for everybody.
There we go.
Usually everybody gets Friday off, and you know what that means?
You're all gonna eat
You do-
turkey
And you
take
get
a
to
nap.
turn. And you get to turn all day Friday.
How about
All day
you?
Friday is a turning day.
Yeah, how about you? I'm gonna eat turkey. I'm gonna probably stretch out on the couch. I'm gonna take a little nap. I'm gonna, because if I go in the shop, then I'm gonna have to clean it before I do anything else.
I did that last night.
Yeah.
I stayed up till midnight last night cleaning the shop, so when I came back tomorrow, that at least I would feel better about it.
Yeah, I haven't been very clean lately. It's been run to the woods, come home from woods, eat lunch, pour a tank, run back to the woods, come home, eat dinner, open the tank, pour another one, go to bed. So it's
Dad,
it's a
you get to
mess.
sleep?
About 5 hours.
So does anybody have any questions? This is always the free form part of it. Shoot us any kind of questions. Put it up in the other side.
When we did shows, we used to do a whole bunch of shows before Thanksgiving, and then a couple of very large shows right after Thanksgiving. And so we would set it up so that on Thanksgiving Day was my day to turn, so that we could have everything for the next couple of weeks. And I can tell you, as time went on, I became more and more comfortable with it. And if you set everything up and do all the prep work, be ahead of time, drill and all the rest of that, you can turn on Thanksgiving Day 40 cigar pens, and they will come out just fine and dandy. And one of the things that I learned from that, and I tell people all the time, when you're doing a whole bunch of pens like that, it's wonderful because you turn one and you're finally finished with it, and you take it off and you say, okay, now I'm going to put it on and I'm going to actually assemble it. assemble slowly, because I cracked more pens in the last 2 or 3 stages of it. I always looked at it and thought, yeah, wonderful. I've got 45 minutes in this pen with all the stuff that I've done up to this point, and now in assembly I crack it. So be careful when you're doing this stuff. When you have a large production job to do, remember that last stage is a wonderful opportunity for you to screw up everything you've done before that. So be careful with it, and you can get 40 done in a day. And on my days that I got 40 done, typically I got 32 that I could use and 8 that I had to throw out. So
Is it similar to spending 3 days making a feather pen, only to trim it on the bandsaw, drop it on the cement floor, and break it after it's done?
I don't know anybody who
Yeah.
would do that.
Yeah.
I have no idea how that goes.
I cried a little. Yep.
So there's a quick question. Any new open component sets releasing soon? Do you have any new in the pipeline that you would care to talk about, Ed?
There are a couple that are going to be coming out, yes. And again, we talk about the transportation issue, but they will be here probably after the first of the year. So I'm not talking real loud about them, but there's a couple that are done and are in production. Also, the ones that you've seen before, there's a lot of them in production. So yeah, we are not going to run out of pens. Trust me on that one.
And then
And when
Eric talks about a compatibility chart for bushings, which I'm sending over to penturners.org.
Yep.
Their IAP charts are going to be the best we can find.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did see a comment about the bucket that I use. You know, if you guys want, I can take pictures of this and send you the dimensions, and they can make their own.
The bucket.
The bucket.
I can send pictures of it, what I do. So on this bucket, it's basically got PVC pipe in all the little spots sitting up here. There's 2 sets of styrofoam on the bottom. And I leave styrofoam in there, so then that way I don't ever have to worry about the tips crashing down. And then once the styrofoam wears out, I can simply take all the pipes out, put it in. The nice thing about leaving the pipes freeform is that if I want to put in a chuck or something here, or I got less things to put up in here, I just pull those out.
And
then
you just press a towel down in here to hold it all together, right?
towel fits it all in.
Yep.
And then one other thing, I mean, you can talk about this if you want. I don't know if they're on camera. I can be on camera one second. I think I've talked about this too. At my house, or if you've watched any of my videos, I've got shelving wraps behind me, a closet shelving wrap, and I've just got eye hooks on all my stuff, and I just put it right up there, and all my stuff hangs behind me when I need it. So I don't worry about dropping tools in here. I don't worry about any of it because nothing can happen to the cutter heads. So if you want, Dawn, take some pictures and put them up there.
And then what really helps is if you've got a friend to carry that in and out for you.
Yeah.
Make a nice little blog article or something.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some mighty fine EasyWood tools. I love my EasyWood tools.
.601, gentlemen.
601 it is.
All right.
So good evening, everybody. Thank you, as usual, for coming to view this week. Again, I want to thank Dean, who always is with us and runs the program from afar, as well as Dean's up in the corner waving at you, as well as Mark and John, who have both made the trip this week to Wisconsin.
It's not on the website.
And we appreciate both of them being here because it's a good opportunity for us to have fun, a good time together, and an opportunity for Mark to show his ideas for Christmas stuff. So I think you'll all enjoy the program. I know what's coming, and Mark will tell you what's coming when he starts. Generally, there isn't a whole lot new. We're working on getting orders out and getting orders in, and basically just having the usual good time right around Thanksgiving. So once again, if you have questions, one of the questions that's come up this week for me, if you have questions and you're having a hard time getting in touch with us, I apologize for that. But if you leave an email that is your best chance. Tell me a little bit about what you want in that email, and I will return your call. The problem is often I have email that says, call me, and I will, but I have no idea what I need to do to be prepared for that, to try to give you the answer that you're looking for. We handle 2,200 pen kits. So when you say, oh, I've got a problem with a pen kit, that's not a lot of help. Because what pen kit and what's the problem, and we will do everything we can to help you out with it. So with that in mind, I will turn it over to Mark, and I suspect that he'll probably tell you a little about the MVG before he gets started. And then he can get started and show you all the wonderful things you need to know for Christmas ideas. Mark, take it over. I'll get out of your way.
So I did say, and this I do want to just mention this right up front off the bat. So we are closing in on the end of November, and as you recall, if you're coming to the Midwest Pen Turners Gathering, we normally give away a jet lathe, and we're working with Woodcraft also to get some more lathes out there. And so the couple options that you have on it, the sooner you sign up, the more tickets you get for actually in our raffle for our big giveaway. So if you sign up now, you get 5 tickets. If you wait till December to sign up, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's only $59. I think it's the best value in turning just in general for doing any of this stuff. I've just finished having all my demonstrators commit. I know John's going to be doing a couple of them. I know Ed's going to be doing some. I've got some other people out there on the line. So probably by middle of next week, I'll have all the people up on the website. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Send an email. Send a text to Exotics, an email to Exotics, and we'll be able to answer all the questions.
I want to mention, isn't the hotel rate changing in a
Yes.
couple of weeks?
Yes, that was I was waiting to see what Dawn was. There you go. So someone's already signed up and they got their email confirmation. One thing that I do have to tell you is last year we had a small little snafu with the hotel, and they've been fantastic for basically trying to say that they're sorry about it. So if you're planning on signing up and you want to get a hotel room, now's the time to do it. The hotel rooms are between $30 and $40 cheaper now than they will be on January 1st. On January 1st, they're going back up to their normal rate. But right now they're offering a $30 or a $40 discount depending on the night you're there, and that'll cover everything on the hotel. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm sure I'm going to do another commercial for it at some point during the event. And as always, I'll ask. Make sure that you put your questions in the comments on the side. I am always looking forward to answer any of the questions for what we're going to do tonight. Dean and I will make some strategic stops. John's going to be doing a demo. I talked him into doing a demo on the ride up here today, so he'll be doing a finish.
Huh?
And so I will give you guys a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be looking at. So the first thing that we're going to demo is this, and it is actually a complete fishing rod. And I want to tell you, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a fishing rod. It's got the reel on here. Today's what we're doing is we're going to do 2 different things. There's going to be a couple projects here that you can do, and you could turn for a student or a kid, right? Today's was turning towards kids, so you can do that. But a lot of these projects are so simple that you can sit down, bring your son, your daughter, your granddaughter, your grandson to the lathe and actually do the turning with them. I'll tell you, you and I have done it. I know you've done it. There's nothing more fulfilling than bringing in a family member. And I got one picture coming up of the candle set that I'm going to show later. And what we're going to make is it's going to be something that my nephew did last year, and he had never been on the lathe before. Dean, you want to pop that picture up real quick if you don't mind? This is going to be the 3rd project that we're going to do. It's a simple set of candle holders up there. We're going to show you how to make those today. So, and then the second project that we're going to do, if you want to come back, Dean, is a spinning top. So this is just a spinning top that you can make here. We'll make this today. And then we're also going to talk, you know what, let's do all the cool ones now. We'll talk about some of the other projects that you can make and some of the ones. So the fun part of doing this with Ed is usually the week or 2 before I come out here, I get to sit down with Ed and Dawn and take a look at all the cool stuff they got sitting in stock. Tell me this one's not cool. And if you've ever seen Christmas Story, this is the one thing that will put your eye out. but it's a slingshot. It's real simple. All the technique that we're going to do today will be the technique that we can do here. And the nice thing about it is it does come with a nice set of foam balls. So, you know, nothing real dangerous. You can be shooting these around the house. This is a great gift for that tweener, right? Someone in the 9, 10, 11, 12 range. It's a nice gift for that.
Especially if you have a pet running around.
Yeah.
There you go. Something for the cat to go after.
My cat would eat every one of them balls.
These are things that I don't know that everybody knows is out there.
Mhm.
So I know that, you know, we all know, you know, some of the projects and some of the component sets. This is a new one, relatively new. I know beading is really popular. So this is a beading set that you have here. And it's got the 6 different bead tops that go onto this one. This isn't that complicated, right? It's simply a pen blank. All we're going to do is take this pen blank. We're going to put bushings on it, and we're going to make it. Simple project. But one of the things I want to point out is, remember what we talked about last week when we were talking about this and the week before, is the fun is in making the blank something unique, right? Anybody can take this piece of wood and turn a piece of maple and make a beading tool. If you know your son or your daughter and you know their favorite colors, you can do something in here. John showed us a couple weeks ago, diamond art. Yes.
So if I
Thank
can
you.
interject,
Yeah, go ahead.
so I'm going to steal the camera for a second. Diamond art looks like this. Where's the mod? Here we go.
Nice.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Tip it just a little, you're getting a reflection.
That's cool.
That is really neat. There you go. Fantastic. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, and you could see that's something that kids to adults will love doing this kind of stuff. So this is a nice little component set up for that one. You can, let's not forget that you can also cast things in there, right? So
I should say, Dean, I think you should make one with an image around a pen blank, and then we'll clear cast it.
There we go.
So just another one of the projects that you can do. If you've got younger kids, we've talked about this. You know, at one point we had talked about doing something, one of the things just called what you can do with your scraps. And so this is simply a kaleidoscope that is done with a little chunk of Spectraply that I had left over. And if you look inside the hole and you spin this at the same time, it just gives you the panorama view of these little things floating around in there. You can let it slide down. You can let it slide the other way. There's a bunch of color little spots that go into it. Really cool project. And you can see that, you know, someone younger would love something like this as a Christmas gift. And once again, something that we can easily turn. And then finally, if you're into the whole kaleidoscope, this is called the steampunk one, right?
Yes, I think so.
This is the steampunk kaleidoscope. And if you look at it, if I turn it just a little bit, you'll see here that it's half wood, half acrylic. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't cast it just for this. This was, as we talked about last week, when I'm doing pepper mills, I'll have all these chunks of wood left over. And you can see here that's pretty close to being the right size. And so what I did was I just took a chunk of a pepper mill blank and then wanted to do something with it. And so got to do something that looked like I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on it. And it's not. It was something that I had done, and I just had it ready to go for this.
Basically, the size of a bottle stopper blank, then.
It is a bottle stopper blank. Yes, exactly. And what a great prelude to what we will be talking about next week. So, all right. So let's actually get into doing some turning and actually doing some of these projects start to finish. I am watching the chart on the side. If anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, please let me know. So to do let's start out with this one. This is the fishing pole. And so the cool thing about it is if you look on the website, it comes with a whole bunch of different color schemes and color combinations. So this is the blue one. And then the one we're going to make tonight is a black one.
Move it more towards the tailstock.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. So the blue one, you can see I took the extra effort in making sure that my blank that I had was a chunk. It was a chunk of wood that I had done where I had done the casting on it with blue in there. And guess what anybody want to take a guess? I'll watch on the side on the black one, what we're going to be doing for the black one. But the fun part of this is it simply opens up. You pull the fishing rod out. There's a little spot down here. Unscrew this a little bit. The reel simply.
But this is the perfect size for ice fishing. That would be ideal. I have a few ice fishing poles that are bare bones, and this would be well over the top for that.
And all you do is you adjust it so that you can put the little screw in there. I'm going to leave it out because I want to show it a little bit more when I'm talking about it.
Well,
but
if you get real bored and you're
I'm
sitting at your
just going to
desk,
do that.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
So if you get real bored and you're sitting at your desk and you got one of these little bass pen holders, you can just take turns, practice casting in its mouth.
So it is a fully functioning fishing rod. And as I said, it's not that complicated. It's a great project that you can do with your kid, your son, your granddaughter, your grandson, your daughter. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck up my chuck.
Question that has come up that's been sent to me in the past.
Sure.
First, is there a line on the reel?
No.
There is not.
No.
Okay, that answers that question and the second one. So thank you.
Well, the nice thing is it fits in your pocket, so you never know when you're going to find yourself walking around a fish tank somewhere, or wandering through Bass Pro and they've got the fish in the corner tanks. You just fit
You know
the
what it
line over it.
As I was turning it, one of the things I kept thinking about was the Popeil Pocket Fisherman.
Yeah.
And I know that's showing my age, but the Popeil Pocket Fisherman. I am not going to go through the whole process of drilling this and gluing this in. So what we need to do, this is the only complicated part of this one, is the drill bit and drilling this in. This does call for a 17 millimeter drill bit. And you can pick it up here at Exotic Blanks. This is the 17 millimeter drill bit.
Soon.
But yeah,
She's working on it.
she's working on having it up on the website. So there you go. But I do want to point out that, and I'm not going to give me a little tolerance here that I would put the 17 millimeter drill bit in. Remember, I want to bring up stuff that we talked about it. Last week we talked about how do we drill something that's that long if the shaft on our drill bit here will not go all the way through, right? It can't go all the way through. If I wanted it to go all the way through, it wouldn't. So what you do is you chuck up the 17 millimeter here, you drill it in, and then I always take a Sharpie marker and I'll put a line on the top here so that this way, when I'm going to drill through the other side, I simply will make sure that I unscrew this, pop it out, and that line is still between the same two jaws of the chuck, so that I know that I've always got it to within reason. Now, I pointed this out last time. I want to go here in case someone hasn't come to every single one of the things we do, which surprises me if you don't, is if you go to drill this, and when you go to drill this, I think the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people make is they'll push that drill bit in as far as it'll go. And what that means is if it's just close to being on this side, and now I go in and I drill it in from the other side and there is a little bit of offset or slop in it, you can see it. You can see it right at the end and you don't have enough place to play with it. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I only drill in about halfway so that when I flip it over and I'm drilling it in from the other way, if I'm off just a little, it's off in the center and I could take a rat file or whatever I am, buzz it in, and just clean that up so that I know that I can get that tube to go in all the way through. And this one does actually take a tube. There's a tube that goes all the way through. And let me show it to you. So the tube goes all the way through the piece. And so I did glue this one in. I did face it in on there. And we're all ready to go to do some turning. Any questions, comments, anything so far?
No, pretty quiet.
And I know I'm going to say this a million times tonight, so if someone wants to count and just watch how many times I've said something, we can do that. That'd be kind of a little bit of fun. The system that I'm going to do for this and most anything that I'm doing here tonight, the gold chuck is coming, Harold. The gold chuck is coming. It's coming up for another part of it. I love to use this turn between centers mandrel system for any of this. Why? Because you could see if I was doing the pen, it's small enough to do the pen on here. Now when I'm doing this fishing system, the nice part about it is completely and fully self-adjusting, so I don't have to worry about anything. I'll simply put the
Bushings.
bushing on there. And where's my dead center? My live center. My live center on this side. Pop it in. Now, the weird thing about it is, and John really was kind of surprised when he saw this today, is that if you notice, these were threaded when I put this in. So these bushings are going into threads. It's not going into a raw brass tube. So you're going to be a little bit of a delicate on that one. I'm not going to, when I'm putting those bushings in, I want to make sure that I have a little bit of play on there.
Yeah, it's not a tight fit like a
It's
pen.
not a tight fit. So I am going to put on my jacket. I like the people who want to see the gold chuck. We'll get to that one in a few. But I'm going to simply now line everything up. John got nervous. He's putting on his.
Putting on my helmet, my face shield.
What happens when you sit in the first row?
So remember, I'll keep doing this every time. If you're not familiar with Easy Wood Tools and the Easy Wood Tool product line, it's my favorite tool system to use. I love this thing. This is the flat tool rest. Where am I at? There we go. So if I point it this way, notice that it's flat on top. What that's going to give me is that when I put that tool in, it's always going to be level on there. So if I use the round, I don't have to worry about this. I'm going to do this. And then that gives me just a little bit of extra security when I put my thumb up on top of this, the way I like to hold it. And I know that I'm set on there. So tool rest goes on. It's so nice to go on these nice Powermatic blades.
By the way, somebody wrote last week, it's a beautiful Powermatic lathe, really quiet, etc., etc. How come you don't use the same Jet 1015 I use?
So, yeah, it's
Yeah, you turn with that Powermatic, you won't want to use a jet anymore.
Jet 1015.
well, the weird thing is too is at home I've got the big 3520, 3550, 3250. I got the name, which one it is, but I've got the black anniversary edition, and I turn pens. I'm predominantly a small turner, and I turn everything on that.
On the biggest lathe he had.
On the biggest lathe that I have. I mean, it's wired directly into my house so that I don't have to worry about it. I draw it on 220, all wired in. So
That's good. You got all that raw power for those pens.
All right, so I'm going to turn this down, and then John is going to go in. He's going to do a little bit of a CA. Yeah, sorry, 3520C. That's exactly it. So I had the numbers right. I just messed them up the first time because I'm so nervous. Anytime I'm in front of a camera, I get so nervous.
Yeah, right.
Tool's going to be laying flat. I'm never going to go over this. And what I'm going to do, same thing. I'm treating this just like a big pen. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to nibble my way down. And then when I get to about 3/4 of the way, I'm going to nibble my way the other way. And then I'm going to make some passing codes.
I do turn it off.
Yep. So it's okay I mentioned that. So I also want to mention this. I know I mentioned it last time. Ed and I do things slightly differently. I never turn my lathe off. My lathe is on right now sitting at home, even though nobody's using it. I use the speed control because exactly what I'm doing now. When I put a pen on here and I'm turning a pen, I'm turning it at the fastest it can go. When I then want to put a bowl or a platter or something else on there on the face, I don't want to accidentally turn it back on and have it go as fast as, have it where it was at last speed. So I will always just use the speed control on mine. So we will crank this up. As I said, I'm going to start in here and work my way over. Tool is always flat. Pushing it in, making the cut. Now you can see I got this little bit of chunk over here, so now I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to stop it now. Why did I stop it? It's because my gap here is starting to get a little bit big. I can actually, if you see from that side camera where Dean is at, the gap is a little bit big on there for what I want to be doing. So now I'm simply going to just take my tool rest, inch it in a little bit more, make sure that it spins around, and I'm good. So let's finish this thing off so John can get on. Normally when I'm home, I am running 25 max.
What kind of wood is it?
Spectraply. So this is a piece of Spectraply, and you could see that it matches the slingshot that I'm doing, that I did. Which camera am I on?
This one. You're at this
There we go. And it is the yellow and black. And I will tell you the reason that it's yellow and black is because my daughter is an Iowa Hawkeye, and I do this stuff just for my daughter.
How fast you turning, Mark?
So I'm going at the max speed. I'm going at 3250.
Yes, we sell that tool rest. At present, it's still in the development stage as far as selling it is concerned. We have some inventory, but not everything. So, yes, if you go to the website and look for it, it is there, but there's some pieces that are not yet in complete stock. So keep tuned.
I've linked it,
Thank you.
and if anyone really wants more, they can send email to sales@exoticblanks.com, and Ed can get back to them.
Correct.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to crank it up. I'm going to get it to, I'm about, probably about an 1/8 inch off the bushings, and then I'll show you why I'm going to do something a little different. Same way that I do pens. All right, so now this is about an 1/8 inch proud of the bushings. And what I'll do is, and I pointed this out. Dean, can we go to the front camera, please? Thank you, sir. When I'm turning this and I'm doing all my roughing out, I'm always roughing out with this edge. So that the top is the part that's getting beaten up the most. So then what happens is when I want to make these now final cuts and these little finishing cuts on here, I'm actually, instead of holding the tool in directly like this, I'm going to hold the tool in at a 45-degree angle. And now I'm going to be using a fresh edge. And I mentioned this last time. Then when I actually want to go do and I want to sharpen this by rotating the cutter head, I'm simply always going to rotate the cutter head counterclockwise. So I'm going to take the cutter head that's got really beaten up. I'm going to put it off to the side where I'm not going to use it anymore. The part that's got slightly beaten up is going to be the part that's over here on the top. And then the part where I want to make those final finishing cuts on there will be the part that I'm going to be over here. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of flare into this thing and put a little bit of taper in it so it looks something like that. And that's the fun part of this, right? I'm kind of degrading myself here, but there was not a lot of skill in doing something like this. So you could see with some supervision where this is a great project to do with your children, your grandchildren, your friends, your neighbors, anything. And that's kind of what makes Christmas a little bit more fun, or the gift giving a little bit more fun, when they can make something. Maybe you have grandchildren and they make a fishing pole for their mom or dad. It's always fun to do this. So I'm going to make the final cuts and then I'm handing this over to John. So now when I make these final cuts, I'm going to put the cutter head at a 45-degree angle. I'm slowly working my way in until I find that bushing. I'm always watching the other side from where I'm turning. I don't care where the cutter head is. I'm watching the other side to watch my profile below. I also chose Spectraply for a reason. The nice thing about this is if you're turning with someone that's young and they're having a little bit of a challenge and stuff like that, Spectraply is an incredibly, incredibly easy wood to turn. And so it's what kind of just makes this one a lot of fun to do.
I believe it's laminated. You got layers of birch.
Yes.
So, birch is very easy to turn.
So I will go through and I'm just going to whip through some sandpaper on this one. So I'm starting at, for something bigger like this and everything else, I might start at 150, 200, but I'm not going to put it up at a really big high speed. Normally, as I always tell people, I will be wearing my N95 mask. I'm not doing it today just so I can talk over this. Any questions come up on the side that I missed? I don't have all the demos. When you're saying classes, are they asking about hands-on? We've talked about it. We don't have any right now scheduled for right now. We've talked about it. We're trying to figure out how we could accommodate it. But in terms of the demos, 90% of them are, or let's say 85% of them are going to be pen related. So I know we've got casting set up, we've got closed end set up, we've got some earrings. What else do we have? A small bowl, segmenting, I've got a gentleman who's going to do something on segmenting. And yes, 2 demo rooms running both days, the entire time. And you know what? If you how about this? Ed, is it okay if I come next week more prepared and I'll have everything and I'll lay it all
Or
out?
you could just refer them to your website too. It tells you pretty much what's going on. If I remember.
Well, I don't have the demo done yet.
Oh, that's
Because I'm still waiting for a couple demonstrators.
okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it where I'm kind of, I still want to go with the grain, right? And so I am going to take my last 2 grits of sandpaper. And John's got a new little product he's going to show that we're going to do for putting the finish on this thing. No. There you go. That was the last one. I went backwards. I'm fucking you up, bud.
There's no need to.
So there we go. Last week, I shot most of my projects with lacquer shot, but you can do any of this stuff too. You can spray this one. There's no reason that you can't take this out. Spray it with lacquer. Give me a nice undercoat. Put it back on the lathe. Knock the lacquer down. Level it all off, and then, as I said, last time I sprayed it with lacquer shot. Watco makes a lacquer out there. A couple places make a lacquer out there. But I think one thing that most people don't think about is actually putting a CA finish on something like this. And John, you want to come up and take it over from here? Sure. Those are your bushings.
Okay. My box.
He's got about
Getting serious. I brought a box.
I got it.
All right. Ooh, a little splintery yet. You did a good job. I'll give you that. You did okay. All right,
okay.
So the first thing you're going to realize, though, if you make something like this is, if you're into doing finishes, you have a few options, right? There's the lacquers, the schlacks, whatever you like. I'm going to do a quick CA finish on here. But one thing is, these bushings are metal. And so the last thing you want to do is get glue on your surface to wick in between the bushings and the metal, and then essentially you've got everything glued together. So I like Delrin bushings, but the problem is these holes are too large for the small Delrin bushings. So what Mark and I did tonight, and this is again out of necessity, if you've ever made a duck call or salt and pepper shakers, they sell, Exotic Blanks has the wood bushings, but the problem is you'll glue wood to them as well. So we took 1-inch Delrin and basically drilled it on the lathe. Mark just turned a taper on each end, so that way we can use these now as our own Delrin bushings. Something very simple, easy to make yourself, and you're not going to glue your blank to any of your metal bushings. Ed, do you have a towel or something?
Paper towel.
blue paper towels.
So what I like to do at home, I have a old brown towel that I lay across the bed. That way I'm not dripping glue down on the bed on the ways, because the problem is you get glue on that stuff and then you start trying to slide your tailstock back and forth, they're going to get hung up. So you want to keep your lathe nice and clean. So I always put something down on the bottom. Now for this, I brought all sorts of stuff that I didn't need to because Mark took care of it. One thing I am going to do though is, geez, give me just a second here to dig it all out. I'm going to use blue shop towel. And what I've done, I've already torn some pieces to length. Normally what I'll do is just take the blue shop towel and I'll fold it up a couple times and flatten it out. That way it's a nice small surface. It allows me to work in here real easily. It's not too wide. I'm not wasting a bunch of glue on that surface. So I like to start with the ultra thin fill and finish. We're using the Glue Boost products because it's also a finish, not just a CA. And what I like about this is this stuff is thin like water, and it will wick in any of these areas, crevices, if there's anything, lamination issues with your Spectraply, which there shouldn't be. But you never know if you have a small crack or a void or just a chip out or something you want to fill.
And Spectra Pie is porous, so
It's very porous, yeah. Well, like I said, it's birch. It's a soft wood. So, put my glasses on. Now for this, I'm going to turn the lathe down. I usually apply my CA finishes somewhere around 700 to 900. So, see, we got a little bit of dust on here. But the nice thing is, when you put this on, you don't need a lot. You don't have to flood the blank. You just want to see that you're coating it. And we're going to do this a couple of times. I'm not even going to put accelerator on yet. I'm going to apply a couple coats. Turn this up just a hair. We're at 900, 914.
Will 915 work?
915 it is, sir. Now, when I spray the accelerator, I don't want to be all up close like this. I want to be out about 12 inches. I'm going to leave the lathe running because what that does, it allows, yeah, good smelling. It allows that to spin through the mist. So I'm coating all the surface. I always joke with Mark. Mark does his a different way. Mark has his way, and then Ed and I have the right way. And Mark does it with the lathe off. We do it with the lathe on. But basically, what that shows you is there's no wrong way to do this, right? It's just that the product is that well. So, but I like to add maybe 3 or 4 coats.
and I love the fact that it's just a spritz.
Yes.
It's not a spray.
I'm not overspraying it. I'm not trying to spray paint it, as I always joke. It's accelerator. It's not spray paint. You don't have to hose it down. Just a spritz. It's dry. So the nice thing about this is it's wicked in. It's kind of a stabilizer as well as a sealer. So after you put your first couple of coats on, you get a nice shine on that. Then you'll see that it's shining up. But I can also feel there might have been some splinters or something in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of 4-aught steel wool and just rub over that. And all that's going to do is smooth it out enough to knock down any imperfections. Wow. There we go. Knock down any imperfections, and I'm going to wipe it off.
Greg Kozak points out that, overspraying can actually cause more challenges than it's worth.
Absolutely. If you have too much accelerator on this and you start applying glue, you may get it to cure quicker. You may get some crust buildup because it's too thick, too much glue. And I always like to just put a little bit. And you'll know if it's not enough, you can just apply a second low spritz. Now, because this is nice and smooth, I can get away with using the thin fill and finish. I don't have to go to the blue bottle, which is the medium. The medium is great for filling pores, any open areas, or if you just need to level it out. SpectraPly is pretty smooth, so it's not something I need to work that hard at.
Oh, it's doing pretty well.
I mean, it's all right. All right, so it's nice and smooth. We've got a little bit of shine going on. We've already got 3 coats of the ultra thin. What's also nice about the ultra thin is it's a sealer, it's a stabilizer. It also fills in any sanding scratches on your acrylic. So if you're using something that's a hybrid or it's all acrylic, as you know, if you've turned any of that stuff and finished it, you're gonna get scratches in it. It's hard to get all the scratches out. So for me, rather than work extra hard trying to get the scratches out, I fill them in with the ultra thin CA and then build a finish on top of it. Now, because this is a handle, it's a little bit bigger than a pen, you're going to have to apply a little more glue to the paper towel than what you normally would. But we've got a nice finish going on here. And I'll even alternate directions. But because it's SpectraPly, I don't have to get that crazy.
You
So,
can see it on TV. I mean, it's spectacular.
yeah, it's
Shiny.
already got a nice shine on it. Now, it's up to you how thick you want your CA finish. Obviously, it's not like the old days where we'd put about 10 to 15 coats on and then sand it level because it was wavy and we had to get some white crusty spots out of the other brands. Blue Boost goes on really nice and smooth and easy. As you can see, it's a nice shine in there, and it's not something you have to work real hard at. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the extra fine 4-aught steel wool, and I'm not pressing hard. I'm just going to lay it up there and just move it back and forth a little bit. And all that's going to do is take out any of those radial ridges that were in it from the application, from applying it. I'm not trying to remove the glue. I'm just smoothing everything out. You can see it still has a shine on there. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't want a finish that's real shiny. You can still use the Glue Boost products, and then you can go over it with the steel wool, or you can take a brown paper sack, crumble it up, and use that to kind of buff it down, knock the shine down. For me, I like micro mesh. I always wet sand, and so if I don't want a finish that's really shiny, I might only go up to the 4th grit. Nothing says you have to go through all of it. You're going to get the shine that you want out of it.
Yeah, I find the last 3 are the ones that really put the shine on.
I start to really see the shine at 5, I think. That's when it starts to come out. So my process now for sanding, again, I'm using micro mesh, and I've got a water bottle here, and all I'm going to do is put a couple drops on my sanding micro mesh pad and then go over it. For this, I'm going to turn the lathe up a little bit.
John, you want to talk just a little bit about lacquer shot? The gentleman asked, what if if you're allergic to CA, what would you do? And
Yep. So if you're allergic to the CA and you don't mind a little longer process, I would go with lacquer shot. Lacquer shot is probably the fastest drying lacquer I've ever used. It goes on very, very evenly. We've all used it. Mark and Ed and I have all used it, and it's very simple. In fact, Mark uses it on all his pepper mills. You can apply, what do you do, 4 coats, 3 to 4
I do
coats?
3 to 4 coats, and the cool part about it is I only let 10 to 15 minutes in between coats. I will do shellac on it, let it sit for 24 hours, and then go in the next morning, the day and a half later, and shoot it with lacquer shot, let it sit, shoot it with lacquer shot, 10 minutes in between, 15 minutes in between. Within an hour, I've got all 4 coats on, and I am completely done.
I've used it on pens, and it's the same way. It's very simple, very easy to use. It dries very quickly, and it's not like, obviously there's an odor, but it's not like some of the pre-catalyzed lacquer that I've used in the sprayers for woodworking, for furniture and tables and trim work. That stuff will run you out of the shop. This is pretty mild.
So Greg Kozak says that he likes lacquer shot. And Harold, I agree with you. Once you get rid of it, you will not go back to the other stuff. I promise you that.
And honestly, it comes out of the can so smooth and easy. When it's all said and done, you just have a little bit of a slight texture from spraying it that you just have to buff out. It's nothing complicated at all. And it works great for that stuff. But again, lacquer does take, a few days to reach full curatability, right? What do they say? The old lacquers, I think, were almost a week. I don't know what this stuff is, but you can still
process it and work it with light sandpaper within 24 hours.
Absolutely. I'll spray it, and then I'll wait a day, and then I'll buff it. So I've micro meshed it. Now what I'm doing, I'm taking the Microfine Yorkshire Grit, and it's basically a sanding paste, and it comes in a nice little container. I'm taking a piece of cloth from an old sweatshirt, just putting a little bit on. I'm going to turn the lathe up about 2,000. Now, if you go too fast, it's all going to fly back at you. So it's all on how much you want to wear. But after you apply it, then you can turn the lathe on all the way up and just really buff it in there. This is a lifetime worth of Yorkshire Grit. And when it's all said and done, that's the finish you're going to get on your handle. It's just a nice shine. If you needed to buff it afterwards, you could. I don't think there's any reason to buff it. The only time I think I would buff anything is if it was a really dark color and I needed to maybe just smooth out any I don't know, what's the word? Any imperfections or, any blushing or anything, just get a nice even shine on it. But as you can see, looking at that handle, it's in the dark spots. It's all nice and evenly shined. And it didn't take long to get a good Glue Boost finish on it.
John, if you weren't narrating it, 2 to 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I first started doing CA finishes, It would take me 30, 40 minutes to do one pen. And because you put a layer on and then you walk away from it, you didn't want to use too much accelerator because the glues that were out there that weren't made to be a finish would crack or shrivel or crust up really bad on you and blemish. So you might put a light mist of accelerator, but usually you just put the glue on and then you'd walk away and do something else. And then you'd come back to it and put another layer. And then, like we said before, then you'd have to sand it all down level, and you'd have a half hour, 40 minutes into finishing something where Glue Boost, if I weren't standing here talking, applying the glue, sanding it, micro meshing, 5 minutes.
And what we wanted to point out here is the fact that you can use the same pen making techniques that you have for doing something like this.
Absolutely. And because these are Delrin, they don't stick. So, of course, you're going to have a little bit of paste from sanding that gets on the ends here. That's just natural. But then you just wipe it off, and now there's your handle. It's all good and ready to go. So, it's that simple. All righty, sir.
I'll do the assembly because we said we're doing this from start to finish.
All right. Just throw all this back
Wow,
in the
this is
box.
spectacular. I can't wait to say I did this.
You doubted me?
I can't wait to say I did it.
Well, Glue Boost is one of those things that after you've done it a few times, you don't even have to think about it, right? You just do it, and it's so simple to do. It's very easy. So
I'm going to pull this apart. We're going to put it all together and see what we got. So the first thing, I just want to finish this off and show that we do everything on this one. So all you need to do is take the little bottom cap, screws right in. Fits all the way in, perfectly flush over here. Take the top part. Whoops. Screws all the way in.
well, it's nothing like having to press something and worry about cracking it.
Right. And so that's why I picked this one out. I think this is a spectacular project to do with a kid.
Yeah, very simple.
And then completely works. Drops down.
Heck yeah.
This one does come with its own cap. This cap.
Now you just have to wait for the lake to freeze.
Yeah.
And there you go.
What kid doesn't want to sneak down to the creek though, trying to catch a bluegill or something?
Well, and then the reel is separate, just attaches. The cool thing about it is, as John points out, you could have it on your desk with this. There we go. We're down into the other camera. And you know what? Don't move the camera. I mean, I just want to point out, John, just leave it right where it's at, Dean. I want to point out that shine line on there. John did a fantastic job.
And it didn't take any effort. But that's the nice thing about working with something naturally smooth, like SpectraPly.
So now I've got a fishing rod, just opens up, pulls all the way apart. We can cast, we can do whatever we want. We can put our rod on here. So what do you guys think of the first project? I want to see some comments on the side. And I think, Dean, this would be a good time for you to do your first giveaway.
If he knew what it was.
Oh, I think he does. Does he?
No, he does not.
No, he does not. No, he doesn't know what it is yet, so keep it going.
All right, anybody, I'm going to look at the side for a couple seconds. Anybody have any questions on, and share comments too. I think this is a great project that you can do with your son, daughter, grandson, anybody.
So they're asking about the bushing. So this is what Mark and I use tonight in a pinch, only because I've done this in the past with making duck calls. But it's basically a 1-inch piece of Delrin rod that was cut about 1.5 inches long, and then it was just put on the lathe and tapered. Very, very quick and simple. I I think Ed said if there's any interest, they would be into selling the Delrin, and you guys could turn it to the taper that you want to suit the projects that you're making. What Mark and I did, we drilled the hole. Now, because we had a 7mm drill bit, these are just under 7 because they fit inside of a 7mm. So we just actually we put a little bit of CA in the hole and pressed a 7mm tube in it. So
I think what we would do if we're going to market this, I think what we would probably attempt to do is to basically sell you two pieces that are 1.5 inches long. And then also the drill bit that will fit in there that would accommodate a standard mandrel, which is not 7mm because you've got to have a little extra space in there. So it probably will be a weirdo drill bit. So it seems to me that that's the thing that you would most likely need. And as you can see, it's simply turned down to a cone. And
the
they
nice
bounce
thing is,
really well.
yeah, you'll never hurt it if you drop it.
So you do have a couple of people right on the thing saying that they're looking.
Yeah,
looking for it.
I can do that by tomorrow or the next day. I've got plenty of Delrin rods, so that's not an issue. But we'll see if we can't figure out something for the drill bit so that you can get going on it fairly quickly.
So Dean says that if you type the word fish into it, you'll get the drawing.
He's into the drawing. Okay.
And what the drawing is, it's a pretty good deal. It's about a $40 prize. It's the fishing rod kit, the drill bit, and the bushings.
Holy cow.
So
Cool.
it's the
I'm
drill bit that
typing
just went
fish.
live on the website.
I'm saying fish. I don't know why I've never won
Fish.
Okay. You don't need me. Good.
Well, and like I said, another thing, what's nice about these is if you get it, I mean, it's a quick turn down, but you can use them for so many other projects that they sell here. You know, the salt and pepper shaker, like I said, any call blank, grunt call, duck call, whatever. Anytime you have something that's going to take a larger hole, the Delrin bushings that we use for the pens just aren't going to fit it. So these come in really handy for doing a finish.
So Mark, I don't know if you want to talk about this one.
Sure.
Charles says, have you used Glue Boost tint to color your tubes when gluing?
For the tubes themselves, no. So that's an excellent question. But when I do it, the one thing, this kills me all the time, and I've been talking about this for years. One thing that I see people talk about all the time is to make sure that you paint your tubes. And I know, John, you do paint your tubes. It's a double step in some of the process that you do. I tend not to even paint my tubes. I find that if I paint the hole and I make sure that the hole has got enough paint in there, and sometimes I'll over drill. The only one that you have to over drill on, and I talk about this all the time also, is on a 7mm pen. I drill at 930 seconds. Is it 930 seconds? On 930 seconds, that gives me just a little bit of a play in there. But for the 10.5, the 12.5, the 10mm, I never have a problem. So I always paint the hole, make sure that I take a little bit of caution when I'm actually pushing the tube in so I don't scratch it, and I never have to worry about it. So
there's
any
a
other
comment. I think this is probably for Ed. He says, when you're doing those bushings, please consider it being sized for TBC.
I don't understand. What would be
And I don't know that I do either, but Christopher, if you can clarify.
You don't need a hole. You want to do it so that it's just got 60-degree.
Well, if it's got the divot for the hole, though, it would
It
be
would
fine
work,
for the point.
Exactly.
I'll
It'd
tell you
still be
this. It might just be easier to sell the chunks of it, and I could show you next week how to actually turn it to actually get what we want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's
And the other thing is, if we do that, we could sell 1 inch or 2 inch. Now, why would you want 2 inch? I did all of my my pepper mills with a 2 inch piece that I had out of wood at the time. So yeah, we could come up with a number of different things that you can do with Delrin rod. That's why I have it in stock. I play.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love having it sitting around.
Yeah, it's nice because anytime I'm in a pinch, I'll just pull out a piece of Delrin, cut it off, and make
Piece
something.
whatever you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make it to
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah.
And the taper angle really doesn't matter. We kind of mocked it to be similar to the Live Center, but it really doesn't. As long as it's enough to go in the hole, it's really, there's no set.
And the thing about it is, if you turn a bushing of anything and you put it into your pen that you're planning or whatever project you're planning, and it doesn't fit very well, you have the tools to turn it farther. So you can adjust it to anything you want it to be, and it isn't difficult to do.
So JP Woodworks asked, what angle did we make the taper? I'll tell you, we did it a lot more primitive than you'd think. We simply went back about 3/4 of an inch and tapered it straight down so that it matched up on the hole. So this will fit almost anything. So if I wanted something sleeker, I could have moved it back here.
It's very similar. So there's not, and like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's tapered. As long as it fits in the hole that you're using, you just, turn
Thank
it down.
you, Dean.
Turn it down so far. Yeah, that'll help. Well,
They're very stoic.
but yeah, once you get it close, put your project down to see if it fits, and if it doesn't, turn down a little more. So obviously, we didn't want the project to fit all the way up to here. We wanted it to fit somewhere in the half range. So that way, you've got still a little bit of room to move in there.
So the question came up when I paint my paint blanks. What do I paint them with? I use my favorite is Apple Barrel paints. They sell it at Michael's, and it's an acrylic paint. And I'll just paint it in. And I'll let it sit overnight.
I use spray paint
Use spray paint. Yep,
because it goes on really thin.
Someone wants to know if we would turn it down for them also. So Donna says we use acrylic craft paint.
Yeah, it's probably Apple Barrel. There's several. There's
Donna says I believe it's Apple Barrel. I wonder if that's a Donna that I know. Because if that's a Donna that I know, I have to come clean now. I don't paint any of it. I don't glue any of it. And I have to say this because I have to go home to someone named Donna who actually does do all the painting of my tubes, of my barrels, and does all my gluing for me.
And it's quite a good turner in her own right.
She is. All right, so I think that's one project down that I think you can either do for someone for kids, or as I said, kids can come out there and do it on the lathe. I didn't want to do something very complicated. The next one is going to be this top, this spinning top. You're going to see this is incredibly, incredibly easy also. So what's the part on this one? Hey, it's just a spinning top. I don't know what it is exactly on your website, but it's the spinning top, and that's what we're going to do. And you're going to see here. Yep. All we're going to need is any chunk of old wood that we have sitting around. And so this one, I think it's just about 2 inches. That's about what maybe 1.5 inches is the blank size on here. Well, you're going to see here, this is not something that I went and I cut. This is the end of a pepper mill. I just keep absolutely everything sitting around. So I did this last week, right? This is just another edge of a pepper mill. And it's the end part on a pepper mill. So you can see we can make some really, really cool looking tops by just using old scraps. Chunk of a pepper mill when I made a smaller pepper mill. And so what we're going to do, in this case, I'm going to do wood. I'm going to do Purple Heart. It's a simple, same concept that we already have here. It's a double bushing setup. So you can see here I've got the set of bushings on both sides. And the nice thing about it is I think these are PK Bush 3. And you can either use, it comes with 3 bushings, and you can use either one of the, or any one of the 3 bushings on either side. And all I'm going to do is my same concept I have here, turn between centers. So I'm simply going to take that, push it in, lock it down, and turn. Now, one of the things that I am going to point out before you do this is I will cut. The nice thing about it is 10 millimeter. This is a simple 10 millimeter drill bit that you're going to do on here. So if you want to do stuff and you want to play around with these things before you commit to a final, all you do is buy a big chunk of 10 millimeter. I know you guys sell the 10 millimeter tubes. Take the 10 millimeter tubes, take them to a bandsaw, cut them in chunks of 1.5. And I cut up a whole bag of them earlier, and I've got a whole bag of tubes now that I can use for everything that I'm going to do here.
And that's the same as a cigar pen.
Cigar pen, yep, that's exactly it. So I'm just going to lock this down. I'm going to check to make sure that everything's working. Just because I'm going to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to use a little bit of a different tool. Just to have some fun, I'm going to use my square cutter from the Easy Wood line. And here it is. We're on this camera. Here it is. It's the square cutter. And you can see the nice thing about it is, or the thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to continually just push this in, only using about 1/4 of the blade at any given point. So I'm going to take it, push it in, push it in, push it in. I'm going to work my way down. That's going to give me great control, as you're going to watch. I'm going to get great control at being able to level that thing off pretty quickly. Same thing, got my mask on. Normally I'd have my N95 mask on, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, crank it up. I like that flat tool rest, so I'm simply going to take this. The nice thing about cutting on this tool, when I'm doing anything like I'm rounding something down, is I can cut in all 3 directions, right? I can cut with the tool going down. I can make some passes going that way and be cutting with this edge. I can make passes going that way. And the thing about it is, the only thing I need to know is that the tool is level, right? If I was to do it with a standard skew or a gouge, I need to know that angle. I need to put it up at one way when I'm making my cut this way, when I'm making my cut the other way. I don't have to worry about any of that. Now I'm just going to work my way down. So if you notice what I'm doing, when I'm making my cut to get it flat, is I'm staring it down, like making a stair set of cuts in here. And then I'm just cutting with this edge of the tool and letting it, when it hits this side of the blade, that's my own stop in here. So I know that I'm getting something relatively round with not a lot of work. So I got around. And Ed and I talked about this. When we talked about what we wanted to do for this week, I know all the pros out there are saying, you know what, Mark, I'd like to see you use a gouge. I know Ed, you use a skew, things like that. If I'm doing this and I'm gearing it towards kids, this is the tool to go to. This is the only way, to me at least, This is the only way I'm going to teach a kid how to come out here. And it's the same thing I probably said last time. If you've ever heard me demo, I say this all the time. It's the concept of love of the game, right? If I start to turn and I actually like the tool that I have and I'm having fun with it, I'm going to keep coming out here and I'm going to keep doing it more and more and more.
Says you leave your lathe on all the time. It seems so bad
Yep.
for the electronics. You've-
I will tell you that I've got the 90th anniversary edition on mine. All I'll tell you is that I never have had a problem with it. So that's the best I can say is I haven't had any issue with it. So I appreciate your comment, Mike, but I've not had any problem with it. But so back to this. This is the safest tool to put in a kid's hands. When you're working with them, you're just simply standing behind it. You can keep your hand over it, and you don't have to worry about them, right with a gouge. You're going to turn it up and you're going to rotate it, and they got to know to rub the bevel and things like that. Don't get me wrong. Can I use the other tools? I clearly can use the other tools. It's just the one that I prefer to do. All right, so the nice thing about this spinning top here when we're doing this is if you look on the back of this, there's a whole bunch of suggested patterns that you can do for doing any of this stuff. And you just got to realize which way is the top, which way is the bottom. And so I will tell you for tonight, we're going to do something simple, kind of the way that we just did the other one. I'm probably going to pick something like this, just out of time. What time is it?
7:10.
All right. Just out of respect for time, I'm going to do something mostly likely like this. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to take John's finish, same way John did a finish on here, but I'm going to do it without any lacquer or any glue boost on it. So, now we're doing comedy in the background. So one thing that you're going to do, let's say that I want to do this, as I said, I'm going to want to do this one. I'm not going to want to use, I think the natural tendency on something like this is to use the round cutter and kind of push it in and rotate it in and push it in and rotate it in. I'll tell you, it's not that easy because you're trying to take all that surface and cut it with this tool. I will clear it out with the square cutter first, and I'll make a nice little square stair step in here, and then I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to finish that cut off. So I'm simply going to take this. Put it all in the same fabric. So you can see here, I just made a stair step approach on this, right? And I'm going to do one more cut here.
Well, I think a lot of it too, it's slipping because it's such a small bushing on a large surface.
All right. So I love the insert on here. So you can see I just cleared this out, kind of made the shape for myself. Once again, just a great, easy way to teach a kid how to do something. Now I'm going to just simply take my round cutter. I'm going to start here and I'm going to sweep it in. It's catching right here. It's this.
Oh, it's the center.
Yeah. You can see the center stop it. Can you hear it?
Yeah. Maybe a bearing sticking in there.
Yep. Sorry, there's a sticky bearing over there. Now, one of the nice things about doing this, and if you're going to teach someone and want to do this safely, I can now take this, turn this here. Something funny?
No, not at all.
And now if you notice, what I did was I turned the tool rest a lot here. So then when I'm getting closer to this edge, I don't have a huge overhang on it. I've got just a small little overhang on this side. You can hear it grinding too.
Yeah,
when I start it up.
definitely a bearing hanging up in there.
It's starting to make it hard to make those rough beautiful. But you can see my profile. You can see my profile I've got there. And now let's say I'm just going to do something simple, where on this side I'm just going to roll it over. So now I'm just going to take this side, I'm going to roll it over. That's the pattern I'm looking for. Yeah. And I can, just because I want to show you this again, I can approximate the curve if I want by starting with, I just got it. I've got, you can see it spun out.
Oh yeah.
Sorry about this. Talk amongst yourself for a split second. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. All right. You can see the back end of this thing keeps popping out.
See if he's got a small pin or
Yeah, or something.
small nail or something.
Yep.
You can reach in there with those.
Yeah, I'll finish it. We'll see if it helps that I just did that.
It hurt.
Yeah, it's spinning its way out. You can see it spinning its way out.
Yeah. There's a piece of wire that might fit in. See if I can tighten this.
What? We're just gonna put this on the front. I don't care if it's.
You don't care?
No, I don't care if if it's gonna be that way.
That's better, but I don't know if it'll fix it.
All right.
That one broke.
I'm gonna pop this one. Sorry about this. I'm gonna just pop this one off and replace it. Do we have a? Can I borrow another one of these? This one, the back keeps dropping off of it. Oh, you know what I can do? All right. What can anybody do? All we do is we just switch out the way we're going to do it. So I can use my live center on here. It's starting to get to the point where I'm getting a little bit of nervousness on here because I'm hanging that tool out a lot. So I'll just simply take this, rotate it, make sure that I'm centered off on here, and go. So I left myself a nice little flat in here. I did that on purpose. Oh, I love that wood. Holy cow. So I left myself a little bit of flat in there. I'll show you what I'm going to do with that next. But I'm going to take now the time and I'm going to actually sand this down. Thank you, sir. So same thing that John did when he was talking about sanding.
Mark David asks, would you apply detail with the detail cutter before or after sanding?
I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you one right now coming up. It's an excellent question. I will do this one after sanding, and then I'm going to resand. Wow, that's nice. Is that the next giveaway? Wow, I got to see the next giveaway. You're definitely going to want to stay for the next giveaway. All right, so I've got it completely sanded down. And I decided I'm going to do something pretty cool. And I want to add a little bit of a bead. I'm going to add a bead into the cutter. Yeah, you guys are jumping in before I was saying it. So I'm going to add a bead in there. You can see, yep, that's going to be almost the perfect. It's going to be a little bit short, but we'll see where we're going to go with it. So I'm taking out the EasyWood beading tool. And if you ask me, if I asked anybody to put a bead in here, I'm going to make this a little bit flatter before I do that. But if I asked you to do a bead in here using traditional tools, it'd be pretty tough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten that out just a little bit more to give me a little bit more space.
Good stuff.
Yeah, you're going to... So I got a nice little flat in there. And now when I do this beading cutter, all I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce the tool, one tip here, and then let it find its edge, and then just slowly push it in. Speed's going to be a little bit slower. 1,000. I'm going to let it find one edge. Let it catch the other edge. Now that I got it, I can crank it up just a little. And all I'm doing is rocking the tool. So I get it to touch all the way where I want it to. So if you go to the front, kind of a cool little thing in there. I could take the wire burning system. I could burn a wire in there to really haul that out and bring that out. And now I'm simply gonna finish it off with the last grit of sandpaper.
Or a knurl wheel. That would be cool too. Put some knurling in
Yeah,
there.
knurl in there. But once again, these are all techniques that I wouldn't be nervous to do this with a kid.
Right. Or you could put some trans thin on the bead in the center there and color it. Yeah, you can have all sorts of fun with that.
If you haven't gone to an AAW symposium, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. You missed out on the best one was this year. There was 2 spectacular demonstrators at it, at the AAW. I don't know if anybody went. Could you let me know who the 2 spectacular demonstrators were at the AAW this year? But now, I kind of got the top. And instead of putting any kind of finish on it, I'm going to take John's method, which I really like, and I'm going to do Yorkshire grit. But because it's wood, I do mine slightly differently, like we do everything slightly differently. I'll start with the black, and what I do is I will rub it all the way on dry just to get it on there.
Yeah, with wood, I definitely would use the larger grit first.
Perfect. Yep, I
Yeah.
figured that.
Yeah, just with the acrylics, I go straight to the microfine.
And so I'll take a little bit of a dab on there. And then I'll rub it in this way. Just to make sure I got it all worked in. It'll be a little bit harder with that crevice in there. That's probably why I would burn the crevice in. Put a little bit more on. And no, I'm not calling myself a moron. And same thing. What speed did you like to go at when you were buffing it in?
Yeah, I start out in the middle and then I work my way up.
Same thing. So I'm just working this in, working it over. People making fun of me.
No, not at all.
So you can see that it's working. There's There's the sanding that it's going on here. Now I'm just going to crank it up a little more and buff it in. But I picked I picked this project for a reason, for a couple reasons. A, it's not that complicated of a project. And B, the nice thing about it is form doesn't matter. Form does not matter at all. So if the person you're working with wanted to do any one of these forms or anything free form that's on there, you have all that ability to do that. You can put in the notches that I put in. You can put in the little cuts that I can put in. You can do anything else that you want to do just with that. And you can see when I pull it off. There's the top.
There's a question.
Thank
What
you.
kind of wood was it?
This is, I think it was walnut that I had sitting around. It wasn't marked. I'm pretty sure it was walnut from one of my old pepper mills.
Looks like one.
Yeah. So, sorry, Dean. And it's a nice, dry, natural finish. The nice thing about it is, it's a safe finish. It's not, well, you know what? I'm going to be incredibly technical and out of respect to Chris and Christy. It's a sanding paste. Now, you can use it as a finish. You could clearly use it as a finish. It's not marketed as a finish. It's marketed as a sanding paste. And I think it does great. I think it does wonders. It, you know, for something that I spent not more than a couple minutes doing, I think it's a great finish. Where are we standing on time?
7:30.
All right. I want to get to the next project. Is it okay to say that you can follow the instructions to do the assembly?
Sure.
It's just a press fit that you're going to do everything so that you're going to press fit this stuff together. So what do you guys think? Pretty simple little top, right? Put it all together, spins. It'll spin like a top. All right, so the last project I got to do, and I'm going to knock these things out with the knockout bar. Or do you guys want to do the second giveaway?
Yeah, while you're doing that, let's do the second giveaway, Dean.
I can do that. By popular demand in the chat, type Max. Do you want to
And
show?
what
Oh,
is,
you got it.
John, you want to tell them what the giveaway is?
So this is the Grinch Green, as Don elegantly put it. Glue Boost Caddy with the 3 fill and finishes and the glue dry. And this will stick to the lathe bed. So that way you're not knocking the bottles off. And it's a great tool to have. If you're messy like I am, you'll appreciate having the caddy stuck to the bed of the lathe so that you're not dropping the bottles. And nothing worse than getting glue on your shoes.
When you did your project, you only used the green and the orange. What's the blue issue?
Yeah, so the 3 in the lineup starts out with the teal, which is the ultra thin, which is great for scratch filling and for stabilizing, sealing any end grain or porous woods. And then the orange is the thin fill and finish, which is a great they're all 3 a great standalone finish if the project allows it. But depending on as you build it up, if it's porous or you have any chip outs or anything you want to fill, the blue is great for that. And that's the medium, the thin, and the ultra thin. And I tell you, I use a lot of ultra thin, and it works great as a standalone finish on acrylics as well. So as you've seen, you don't need to use a lot to get a great finish.
Well, and the other thing is if you're not familiar with it, with this product line, if you go on YouTube, you go on your channel, my channel, and Ed's channel,
Mhm.
you can see 3 completely different techniques for how to use it.
Yep.
John's right. I do mine all with the lathe off. John and Ed do it the more traditional way with the lathe on.
We call it the right way.
Yes, the Mark way or the right way.
I'm sorry. Who brought that to the industry? I'm a little confused.
Blue Boost. Rick. Yes, the caddy is available at Exotic Blanks.
It will come with the giveaway, however.
I like
Thank
that.
Dawn for that one.
I really like that green though. That's great. He said it's
Very Christmassy.
it is. I mean, if that is not festive, right? The Grinch green. So very good.
Probably very limited edition. I don't think she did many in French green.
What time is it now?
Just after 7:30, 7:34.
So the final project that I'm going to do is the candles. And Dean, can you throw the picture up there?
Yeah, he's busy.
He's running a contest yet.
Thank you, sir. These are incredibly simple to do. And you can come back to, thank you, Dean. You can come back to me. I'm fine. And so all this is these are cups. I forgot the number on the cup. It's large candle cups. And Dawn gave me a set of these and said, what do you think you want to do with them? What can you do with them to make something simple? And I'll tell you, not only is this simple, I think this is an elegant project.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice on the set that we did with my my nephew, I did 3 different sizes.
And I don't know about you, Ed, but when I hear the word simple, I think of Mark.
Do you? Yeah, well,
Oh, sorry, go ahead,
he's
Mark.
wonderful at this stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. How are you getting home today, Mr. Guess Who Drove? So I just did 3 different sizes on there so I can get some variable size on there to give you something to look at. Now, the biggest key to it is drilling this hole. Oh, and I'll show you how I drilled the hole. Someone asked about this. The gold chuck. All you did was I put it in so that everything lined up on the corners on the gold chuck. Put it in here. And the weird part about it is it doesn't tell you if the one thing there are no instructions on this one, actually, honestly. There are no instructions. The hole is 1 5/16. Anybody know why that's an easy one to have? Why are you looking at me weird?
Because I think it's 1 5/8.
Oh, sorry, 5/8. It's the peppermill one.
That's what I thought.
Sorry, it's the peppermill one. I apologize. 1 5/8. Yeah, 5/16 is too small. 1 5/8. It's the exact same drill bit that you do if you're using a peppermill. And so we talked about that a couple weeks ago when we were doing our peppermills. We drilled a hole in the bottom on it. Now, there's a couple things that you can do, right? I could chuck this up and I could just turn this and actually do that hole in there and I wouldn't get that little bit of a dimple that's inside there. But once I put this in there,
It's gone.
you'll never see it anyway. And so I'll tell you, it's easier. And when we did it with my nephew, we just chucked it up in the gold chuck, put that in, and use that. Now the other thing that this gives me, now that I have this hole drilled in here for that, is a way to do the mounting for this, right? So I can take this and I can mount it up there, and I can turn with it. Now, if I had a student and I'm going to do it something with a kid or my grandson who's only 11 or 20 months old, it'd be a little bit more of a challenge. But you can simply take and make them feel a little bit more comfortable by taking a point center and using those Delrin bushings that we all love. I can put the Delrin bushing on here, lock it down. You don't need that part by any means. We know that we're safe anyway with the way that we have this all chucked up in here. But you can see it gives the illusion that it's safer because it can't go flying off.
Well,
Make sure when you chuck it,
it is safer.
yeah,
I mean,
you do lock. You want to make sure you lock that on both spots. Duck for cover. Oh, please. So I'm going to just spin it to make sure that I'm not hitting my tool rest. I have so many options as to whether I want to work my way down using the square tool. So we'll do that one again. That's just the way that I seem to like doing these things. I can also use my round cutter. I just want to make sure it's not a negative rate. What do we teach the kids now? Is that I want to stop. If you're looking at the side and my side angle on here, you can see I'm starting to get too far away. So I'm simply going to move my cutter up a little bit, spin it around, crank it up. Work my way down. This is a piece of walnut also. Stop it. Someone says they see the beating tool coming back into play. It could very well be. So now I'm ostensibly done. I'm going to make, we can do a little bit of design on it. So I want to flatten it because I can see my top is a little bit tapered down towards the bottom, and I want to roll this in a little bit.
Mark, can I take just a minute
Sure,
from you,
please.
I'm sorry, but something that I learned a long time ago, a very long time ago, when you use a chuck like this and you're putting pressure on it outward, you are essentially loosening this so that it will hold that part. On a very good chuck, this is not an issue. On cheap chucks, which I used to have a bunch of, be somewhat careful because if you get a catch, this is spinning toward you at 2,500 RPM, and it will continue to spin. As it continues to spin, it loosens. It tightens is what it's really doing because it's used to having things pushed in. So as it tightens, it loosens your grip here. That piece can fly any direction. So be aware when you do anything outward on your chuck. As I say, this is a good chuck. It will not happen with a real good chuck. But with inexpensive equipment, be extremely careful because I've seen it fly, and I wore a mask, and I can tell you I did not get damaged, but the opportunity was there. So that's good.
Well, and I'll tell you my favorite chuck. Anybody know what my favorite chuck is?
The Easy Wood chuck.
It's the Easy Wood chuck, and I do have that one sitting in the box.
But
So
good one, you're safe.
this is just another thing that helped add that support, so you really don't want to worry about that.
That's right.
All right, so if we were going to do this and I was going to do it with someone young, I would then just maybe tell them to roll this edge, and flatten it out. Smooth. So now I flattened it all the way out. Now I'm going to take it, adjust that tool rest just a little bit, and I'm going to round those edges. Someone mocking me?
No. It was Christy at the AAW covered savings.
I'll be showing that one again in a second, and I hit the button too quick.
So now, ostensibly, I'm done, right? But if you know kids, they're going to want to do something, right? And maybe what we're going to want to do is let's do a figure eight. One thing that I'll tell you, and it's a good thing to know this in general, when you're turning and you're doing any kind of bigger things other than a pen, the general rule of thumb is 2/3, 1/3. That's the golden ratio. It's actually 1.61538449 to 1. That's basically 2 to 1. So if I came into here and I wanted to do something where I put a little bit of something in it, maybe wanted to make that figure eight, I wouldn't put it in the middle. When you put it in the middle, it doesn't really draw your eye as much as you want it to. And now this is something that you really wouldn't worry about with kids. But let's say that I wanted to do something, so I'd put it right about here. Now, the nice thing about using this tool and doing this with kids is that, as you said, you've been doing this a long time. If I wanted to put a little dip in here and I had a kid to do it, would you really want to be teaching someone who's never used a spindle gouge how to make that? You know, turn it in, dip it down, rotate it up, turn it in, dip it down, rotate it up. We don't have to worry about that. Put it in, same way that we did the other tool, and we're just going to wiggle it. So about 2/3, I like it right about there. And I'm just simply going to take the tool and rotate it. Right? So now I got a rotated curve in there. So now I want I don't want to leave that curve that edgy here, right? John saw one of my first platters that I ever did. And when they passed it around, the guy said, you know, watch yourself so you can get cut on it. So I'm going to roll these in a little bit. I'm always looking at the form on the other end, not where I'm cutting. I'm going to roll that top a little bit. And because we have the tools and kids love playing with tools, I'm going to add some beads at the bottom because if you've ever taught a kid, the coolest thing in the world to do with kids is, or other thing I like the most is they'll take the tool right out of your hand because they just want to get to it. An adult, teaching an adult is so much harder than teaching a kid because the adult will be standing over you. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Am I doing this right? Am I holding the tool right? Kid just says, give me it and get out of the way. So in this, I would have them remove everything, turn it on, and actually do the sanding.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I'm all choked up. We all agree that I would sand a little bit more, right? But just for sake of time, I'm going to put in a bead. And the other thing that, you know, in terms of design is things in 3 are always, odd numbers are always more dramatic. So I'm going to do what we talked about before. I'm going to pick out a spot right here. I'm watching that bead form. Don't touch it all the way. So I got that first bead in there. Now I'm going to use this edge of the bead to make the next bead. Now I'm going to use the other edge to make that final bead that's in there. Just letting it find itself, roll it a little. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I like this, but this edge here and this edge here are kind of sharp, right? And I don't want it to be that sharp. So I'm going to use the point tool. Once again, an incredibly easy tool to use. And I'm just going to use the edge of this point to roll this side that way, the edge of this point to roll the other side that way. That's done. Come over here. That's done. If I had the burning tool, I would probably burn something in. But the point of it is, it was an incredibly easy project to do with a kid. I lost my Delrin. God, I'm going to have to get the new Delrin bushings from.
No.
I would shoot that with lacquer shot. Or I would, as I said, my technique is 2 coats of shellac, let it sit for 24 hours, put it back on the lathe. I do exactly the same thing you do, John. I'm going to knock it off with 4/0 steel wool. Just knock that little bit down. So it's the wildest thing. You really want to take the shine off it before you put the next shine on it. But you can see it's real simple. The most important thing, though, that you want to do when you're doing this with a kid, any kind of kid that's going to be there, before you spray the finish on it and do any of that finish, take a black Sharpie marker and put an inscription on the bottom. Say that, if they're doing it for their mom or their dad or their grandma or their grandpa, put it on there, have them sign their name, have them put the date on there. That is a Christmas present that will be cherished for a lifetime.
Yep, stamp it with a thumbprint, something cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it's just something that will be cherished for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And if you put in the, you want to make it even simpler, Dean, can you put back up the picture, please? Those aren't real candles in there. Those are the battery operated candles. And so all you do is you flip a little switch. The battery is on there.
Yeah, they're all LED, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a battery operated candle that's sitting in there, and it looks like the flame is going at all points. And tea lights. Thank you, Harold. They're called tea lights. So where are we at on time?
7:52.
All right. We've got a few minutes to take any kind of. First and foremost, would you guys please be honest in the comments? What'd you think of tonight? Did this give you anything to inspire you to go out and work with kids, work with family members, do some personalized Christmas gifts either for the kids or with your children, your grandchildren? That was our goal. It gave me a lot of latitude on here. When John told me that he was going to come out here, I thought that's great because John is a master at putting finishes on here. And so we promised that we would be doing things start to finish. We kind of did the first one start to finish. And on the rest of them, we did enough of it and kind of talked about some of the other ways that we could do it. So we are here now for the next 8, 10, 15 minutes to just answer any questions.
While we're waiting on those questions, I'm going to pop up. This was suggested. There's a bunch of Jake people here. Here is a picture I took at the last AAW. It was a giant Jake Blake. It was a big bowl or something that Christy from Easywood was turning.
And I
So,
can
yeah.
tell you this: if you want to meet Christy and Chris from Easywood Wood Turning Tools, they have always been at the MPG in April. I know that they're planning on coming out to the MPG this year. They're one of our primary sponsors. They're incredibly great people and so easy to talk to.
So he's asking about the brass inserts.
The brass inserts. Dean, you want to go back to the front camera? If you look up on Ed's website,
Right next to the jug. There you go.
now they make the large candle cups and they make small candle cups. The other thing that I'll tell you that looks really cool on this when you're doing these things, once again, Spectraply is a beautiful one to do because then you could do team colors, your mom's favorite colors, your dad's favorite colors, colors that match your kitchen. Spectraply is great. And if you buy a blank, just make sure that the if you're going to do 3 candles in it, just make sure that it measures off to 12 inches. Or sorry, yeah, the blanks are 12 inches.
Mhm.
And so just do something that's, 5, 4, 3, right? That works out.
5, 9, 3, yes.
Yeah.
it does.
5, 4, 3. You cut it at 5, 4, 3. You get a set of candles like the ones that Dean was showing you on the thing. And there's 5 of these cups in it in the set. And everything works out. So I'm looking for any questions, comments, anything else. So next week, let's talk about some of the things you'll see next week. Oh, you're gonna see next week is gonna be making gifts or things for hostesses and host parties. So I am gonna do one of Ed's favorites. I'm gonna be doing a barbecue set for the barbecue. We're going to be talking about doing a bottle stopper. And so once again, I hate to steal what's going to happen next week, but this one is done with a chunk of a pepper mill, half wood, half acrylic, of a pepper mill that I made. We're going to probably be talking a little bit about the gear shift one. That's another nice one that you can do. We'll talk a little bit about handheld pepper mills that we're going to have out there for the party aficionado when you're going out there and you want a hostess or host gift. This is all of these component sets are available at Exotics. This one simply takes a pen blank and it's a wine bottle opener done with one pen blank. And you can see here, same thing. You're going to get tired of hearing me saying, instead of just using plain wood, I got one of the blanks that Dawn makes with half wood, half acrylic, and turned it down, so that worked out there. And then we might even take a look at crochet sets and one of John Underhill's seam rippers. So these are new. John has started to do seam. These are on the website, right? John has started to do the opal seam rippers. And I don't know, Dan, if you can get a super close up of that.
They're the standard. I don't know, whatever it is, the 3-inch. Yeah, it's. I think it works for both the double end and the single, and then Dawn actually also has the necklace.
Yeah, these are spectacular.
Unfortunately, Terry, that's probably the only thing I couldn't show you is how to butcher a deer.
So there's a couple other ideas that we've got for coming up for next week. Don't forget the other projects we talked about here. If you're doing it for kids, the slingshot, or
Now, is that when they misbehave, or
I think this. Oh, I will tell you this. Having made this one, and one of the rare times I followed the instructions, I think it said if you drill this at 12.5 millimeters, you can screw this in, and I screwed it in by hand. That was a nightmare. I would go to a 1/2 inch bit and glue it in.
Epoxied in.
Yeah, epoxy it in. Once I got down to that last inch or whatever, there's so much surface touching this thing. The only thing that I do recommend, and we do this on everything Spectraply related, is notice though that I made sure that when I got this screwed in, everything lined up and everything matched up. That's really important to me. That's a mark of someone taking that extra minute to figure out what you're going to be doing on that. So we did that one we talked about. We talked a little bit about taking your scrap to do the kaleidoscope. This is also a nice fun project. This is completely between bushings with 2 bushings holding it on, and you're doing the little turning left over on that one. We talked a little bit about the beading set and how you can do the beading set. And tonight we talked a little bit about, and John helped me do the fishing rod and John's little bass
Yeah, that stand.
pen stand that we can do on here. So with that, I'm looking at the comments. We're trying to always be respectful of being always finishing up right around 8 o'clock. So any comments, questions, please start shooting them out. Ed, John, you want to join me up here?
I was just going to say that.
And any kind of comment.
Oh, slippery. Who made this mess?
You got to learn to turn neater.
Yeah.
You know, Greg, I was in the exact same situation. Would I be able to find Nemo? Wouldn't that be kind of fun? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I grew up with the day of those Hot Wheel tracks.
Uh-huh. They left welts.
Yeah.
Woo!
So do those paddles with the elastic and the ball.
Oh, I didn't do that one. But
Oh yeah.
the Hot Wheels tracks, oh my God, they left welts.
Yeah. The good days.
And you know, and you challenged us, right, Ed? You wanted projects start to finish.
Well,
And that's what we started to do.
we want to do things that are not. You've seen all this stuff with pens, and there's a lot we can still do with that too. But I looked at several months ago how many different project kits we have. A bunch of kits and said, "Here, do something with them." And I think it really is somewhat amazing how many things he's come up with. So yeah, I appreciate Mark putting all the time and effort into it, and it's certainly nice to have Dean back or John back again. And we always have Dean up in the corner, so I appreciate his help too. So
Dean's up in the corner
all in all,
apologizing.
that's what brings us here. So
Someone asked about the light. This is the light that goes with the Powermatic setup. If you're gonna get one of these, get the light also. I love this because it's got 2 different adjustments. Well, it's actually got 3 different adjustments. You can unscrew it here. You can't see it. Yeah, you can loosen this one, and loosen the one up here, and then you can adjust this light. Normally, if I was turning and this was on my own, the light would be down here. Because of the fact that we got to make sure that the camera can see it, we keep it up.
So once you loosen it,
Go ahead.
we can just
And this one too.
loosen it on the back. Yeah, so you can.
Yeah, I came on to apologize because as soon as I took the exotic blanks away from Ed's face, the sound went away too.
Wow.
Here, I can change the camera.
And then the light actually pivots back and forth as well.
one
And you
thing
can bend it the other way too. It's really nice.
One thing about that light too, think about how often you have taken something off of the lathe and then assembled it and then gone back and looked at it and said, I'm really not wild about my finish. I really would prefer it if I had done a little bit more finish. Now you got to take the thing apart, so that you can get to refinishing it. If instead you use something like this light or any other really good light source that you can put about this high, essentially you would like it about 6 to 8 inches, well, probably more than that, 10 inches off of what you're working on. It will then give you a really good shine line that you can judge whether you've gotten your finish or not. You'll find yourself tearing apart fewer projects or pens or whatever
Right.
because I actually
You
checked
can
it
see
before I took it off the
Yep.
lathe.
You can actually see it.
Yeah.
You guys don't sell the light, right? It's sold directly
So-
on the
The light?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay.
I think we do. I'm not
It's
sure.
not on the
but I think
website.
We do. We have access to it at any rate. So yeah, it's a good product for you to put on your lathe.
Oh yeah.
For the person who said, why don't you go back to the 1015? The 1015 is a really good little lathe. And I used, well, actually I still have 4 of them, but I had 6 at one time. It's a fantastic tool. But man, if you've ever turned on any of the Powermatics,
Let's be honest. When we first started doing this one, we were on that 1015.
Yeah.
And then one demo, I said, Ed, you got this one sitting there. Could I use that one? And you let me use that one, and I've never let you make me go back to that other one.
that's,
And it's a great lathe. The 1015 is phenomenal.
yep.
But this one, and this one is, my wife is an avid pen maker. This is the exact same model and setup that she has.
Mhm.
I was jealous because after Donna got one, I had to get
Yeah, right. You
Yeah.
got one after
like,
Donna.
This is really nice, and I love my Jet. I've got that. Was it 1224?
Yep.
And that's a great lathe as well, or 1221. But when to have the opportunity to turn something just a little bit larger, and it is a great lathe.
So the moral of the story is, if you ever get the opportunity to turn on a medium-sized Powermatic, and your budget doesn't support buying one, don't take the opportunity to turn on it. You
Right.
will suddenly be hooked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dean can attest.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one last thing. Don't forget that the MPG is, Dean, what's the dates on that, on the MPG? Can you just put that back up there? But the one thing
Oh,
I
both
forgot
those
to
are
mention
there.
about that MPG is it's only $59. And it is the best $59 that you could spend. I think we've got 14 demos that are going to go out there. If you want to meet Chris and Christy from Easywood, Chris and Christy from Easywood are going to be there. If you want to meet Ed, and you know what the weird thing is? You can actually come and see Dawn
Right.
in person at the
Yes.
MPG. And so Ed and Dawn will be there.
And Dean will be there.
Dean will be there. Jet Woodcraft, and usually a Jet Powermatic rep will be there. So it's April 17th and 18th. Come out, plan on doing it on the 16th. And I do have to warn you now is if you're going to do it and you're going to want the hotel, sign up now, because the hotel is, as I said, it's about $30 to $35 cheaper per night if you sign up now. We've had a great relationship with Marriott. They have helped us a lot, so they're just stepping up to the plate on that one. So any other questions, comments? Anything
Bill,
else we
which
can
one
answer?
Which lathe is that one? Is that the
Doesn't look like we
2014 or is
have
that the
any
third-
tremendous activity.
No, this is
so
2014, right?
I think it's time
Like
for
mine,
us to
right? It's a
call it a
2014.
night.
Yeah, it's a 2014.
Yeah, this is the PM 2014, Powermatic 2014.
Yep. Variable speed.
Sorry, who was asking
Go
questions?
ahead. Go ahead. I can't hear.
Variable speed, Powermatic. You'll love it.
Thing about it is it's very quiet, and I don't turn anything big, so understand that there's probably no demand, but it does not shake.
No.
When you're turning on it, it is as solid as a rock.
And it is quiet. Very quiet.
Very quiet, and
Well,
very very.
And the
solid.
other thing too is you combine that with the Easywood tools and this tool rest.
Mhm.
I love this new tool rest.
Yeah.
It makes it so much more safe for doing any kind of the turning in here. So I will tell you this, for those of you who tuned in just to see how to make Christmas gifts for the kids and for other family members, these make great Christmas gifts for yourself. So tell Santa that you've been a good boy or a good girl, a good turner, and tell him that some of these lathes and tools and component sets and all that other stuff. I think there's someone watching tonight that I might know who might be looking for something for her husband for Christmas. Wow, these make great Christmas gifts.
You really need 3 of them.
We already have 3. It would be a 4th.
A 4th.
Well, actually, it would be the 5th because the 3rd one is my jet that I use when I do demos.
Okay.
I've got a jet that I move when I do demos, and then I've got a dedicated one that just has my buffer wheels on it.
Well, I used to make fun of you all the time. You're like, yeah, I've got 3, 4, 5.
Right.
And now I've got 3 lathes.
Right, and
Well,
once you've gone to it,
I have 4, but the first one I ever got was a small bench top, and I just put it on the shelf, and it sits there. So I count it, but I don't use it anymore. So
but once you use it, I mean,
Yeah.
they just become dedicated workstations.
right,
And the weird part about it is, I don't want to preach about it, but the nice thing about it is when I have that buffing wheel that's set up on its own lathe, every pen gets buffed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where before you would go, do I really want to take the wheels off and do I really want to put it
Right.
on? And I'll do that later. Now it's right at the end of my process. I walk over, I've got a little screw with a Delrin bushing on
Yep.
it, bolt with a Delrin bushing on it. I walk over there, buzz it on there, walk it down. Everything becomes easier just because instead of giving away my old lathe, I then used it for something else.
yeah. And what's nice is
Mark,
if you're go ahead.
Mark, some random commenter said, "Hey, what about for your wife?"
Yeah, I know. I see that.
I like to have 2 projects going on. So if I'm doing a water slide decal on a
Yeah.
pen or something, I'll put it on my jet, and then I shine a clamp light on it so while it's dry, and I can still be turning something on my Powermatic.
Well, and there's times too where when my wife isn't turning and I can use both lathes, I'll leave one with the drill and the jaws in there, and then have one on the other side where I've got turn between centers bushing. Say I'm doing a pepper mill. I can do the pepper mill on one, and I can be drilling on the other one.
Mhm. I can't hear anything, so you
I know.
have to run it.
Yeah, now you're doing good.
You're doing great. All right, so we are looking closer to finishing off. Any other final comments, concerns, questions? If not, we will see you all next week. Same back time, same back channel.
Nothing on Thursday for the guy who asked.
Yeah, nothing on Thursday.
It's Thanksgiving in case you missed it.
So, Dean, watch. If you find a good point to be killing us, we are ready to go.
We're ready
It
to be
looks
dead.
like it's pretty quiet, so I'm gonna close things down and say goodnight, all.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.